It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Well, it's a Friday morning and you're live on SABC3. This is your Feel Good Breakfast show. Now, the State of the Nation address is, of course, the President's chance to lay out government's plan for the next year. And as always, last night's 2016 address was very controversial. And we're joined by Professor of Development Policy and Practice, Alan Hirsch from UCT. And he's here to give us a bit of a rundown of what was said and what was not said, and maybe to also give us a bit of an analysis of what it all means for us as South Africans going forward. It's good to see you again, Professor.
Morning, Kat. How are you?
Very, very well, thank you. It seems like, of course, as always, the red carpet was quite a hit on social media, but it took a while for the President to actually start speaking. So what happened last night?
Well, it took about an hour, really. He should have started shortly after 7, and because of interruptions, I guess, interventions in the proceedings by various political parties, it took a while.
Yeah.
There's a lot of political theatre.
How would you say last night's SoNA fared against expectations?
Well, you know, I think the President, when he finally got to talk, responded to some of the important issues. He talked about the employment challenge. He talked about how people are battling. He talked about the importance of growth. He talked about how the government, business and labour needed to work more closely together. So in that sense, he began to make the right noises. I thought he was a little short on detail.
All right, and that's actually quite true, because I saw some of the tweets saying that, yes, you did address this issue, but not saying how we would handle it going forward. But what issues would he leave out?
Well, he talked a bit about government waste, but he only talked about international travel and you know, lunches and dinners. He had a couple of suggestions on how to cut spending, but you know, there wasn't anything really convincing. We're going to have a budget shortfall of billions, tens of billions of rands, and we need to know how that is going to be distributed. Now, clearly, the Minister of Finance is going to talk about that on the 24th of February, but it's important that people know that the Minister of Finance has the support of the President, so he could have gone into a bit more detail. He could have said, for example, we need to freeze employment in sort of non-essential or non-frontline jobs in government. He could have made some sort of powerful gesture like that, which he didn't.
We see a lot of applause in these pictures, but can South Africans applaud last night's SoNA and look forward with a certain sense of positive, I guess, anticipation?
Well, it's not negative. I think we're waiting to hear what the meat is. We're waiting to hear from the Minister of Finance and other members of the cabinet what we're really going to do. But the door's open. I think the markets have been relatively neutral on the speech.
Yeah, and we were talking earlier on outside about the fact that there's all of these parties putting up points of privilege, points of order. Are these that kind of political instability inside the House? Is that what makes international investors feel like maybe we can't invest in this country?
Well, it is uncomfortable. It's a lack of civility in politics. If the President says, well, we're going to engage with business, we're going to engage with labour, and then South Africans buckle, as we did, you know, in the Assembly last night, then, you know, it's not necessarily all that credible.
Yeah. Well, Professor, thank you very much for joining us this morning. We really do appreciate it. And of course, we're just talking a little bit about the SoNA 2016 that took place last night here in Cape Town. Let us know your thoughts on our Expresso Morning Show SABC3 Facebook page, as well as on Twitter using our hashtag Expresso Show. Right now, over to Leigh-Anne with the news headlines.